Hey everyone, Clay from Brooklyn, football with the fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Here with another look at some prospects from the NFL, upcoming NFL draft. Right now, I want to take a look at a center from Georgia by the name of Jared Wilson. You probably heard me and Mazo talk about him before. I think he would be a very good value on day three. Uh, Certainly a great value in the fifth round. I think he'd even be a good value in the fourth round. Uh, this is, again, assuming we didn't get to sign Drew Dalman in free agency. If we sign Drew Dalman, then I guess we don't really need a third center. I'm pretty sure JMS is going to stay on the team, and he would be great as a backup center. But if we don't get to sign Drew Dalman, I mean, it takes two to tango, right? He has to want to sign with us as well. He's a free agent. But if we don't sign Drew Dalman and we're still in a position where JMS is our only, John Michael Schmitz is our only center on the roster, or at least our primary center on the roster, we need to upgrade there. That young man is just, I don't think he's going to get any better. Like, I think he is at best a slightly below average center, and we need to do better than that. And I think that Jared Wilson would be better than that. So I want to, show you a little bit about why I feel that way, and then, you can tell me what you think. So here's some information about him from the Combine. You see that they ranked him at 5.83 overall, average backup or special teamer. Sorry, I disagree. I think he's going to be significantly better than that. I mean, he is 6'3", 310, as you see here. His arms are a little bit short-ish, 32 and 3/8 inches, but again, he's not playing tackle, he's playing center, so that's not such a big deal. He's actually got very big hands. 10 and 3/4 inch hands is actually really big. And I think that puts him in, athletically and physically, I should say, puts him in the running to be a starting NFL center, but athletically, he's elite. He ran a 4.84 40. That was the fastest 40 for any offensive lineman at this year's combine. That's very impressive. Now, again, your center doesn't have to run 40 yards very often, but knowing that he's able to run that fast tells me the kind of conditioning he's in, the kind of shape he's in. The 1.72 10-yard split, I'm even more impressed by that. The 32-inch vertical, very impressed by that. The broad jump, the shuttle, these are all very good athletic numbers for a center. And I think that those are the kind of things that make me think, yeah, this is someone who would be able to pull and lead on the sweeps and get out in front of a screen and just get to the second level and make some downfield blocks, which is something that our interior offensive linemen have been sorely lacking for many years. And I think that is one of the main reasons that Saquon didn't get to show what he's really capable of here. And I don't mean to keep dwelling on Saquon. Maybe I do. But I do want to talk about the idea that whoever our running backs are will be better off if we can get offensive linemen down and or upfield ahead of them. So this is what they call the spider chart for Jared Wilson. You see, if you've never seen one of these before, it can be a little weird to get adjusted to. Basically, this is a percentile ranking versus all other centers in various categories. So his 40-yard time is 99th percentile. Like, that's saying that he's as fast as any center, basically, or faster than almost every center. His shuttle time was 86th percentile, et cetera, et cetera. So you see that his vertical lead is outstanding, his 10-yard split is outstanding, and his broad jump is outstanding. His arm length, like I said, is pretty short, 40th percentile. But again, at center, that's not terrible. It's 40th percentile. It's not 5th percentile. It's basically average, slightly below average. His hand size is very big, as you see. This is the middle of the spider chart. So basically, the farther you are from the middle, the higher your rating is. His weight is pretty high, 76th percentile. That's very solidly big for a center. His height, not so much. So his height and his arm length are not very big. Fine. They're not a problem. 40th percentile isn't a problem, but it's not a strength. But everything else is a strength. And so again, I think that what we're looking at is a person who is an athletic and physical specimen that would do well on our offensive line and certainly would do better than who we have had playing on the offensive line. I also want to show you a little bit of his highlight reel I found for him online at prospects.com. Again, highlights, everybody looks great in their highlights, right? But it does give you a little bit of a sense of who he is and how he plays. So I'm just going to, you see him circled there, and shout out to Prospects. Thank you for putting this together. And I know that there's a little jumpy, glitchy stuff happening on when I show you other people's videos, but you see how he took on one defensive lineman and then dropped off to pick up the linebacker who was coming up the A gap. That's something that we don't get a lot of from our offensive line. Here he does it again. he's always looking for work, and he's quick enough to block more than one person. He picks up a stunt. When's the last time a Giants offensive line picked up a stunt? He's the type of person who, like I said, heads on a swivel and knows his job, knows his role. He just started 1 year, I think I mentioned this before, because he was behind Cedric Van Prager for 3 years, for 2 years actually, who was the Georgia center before and who is a rookie in the NFL. Just finished his rookie year this year. That's nothing to be embarrassed about. Backing up Cedric is something that most starting NFL centers today would have done in college, because Cedric was outstanding. But again, you're seeing a lot of his ability to move and get to the second level, to climb up to the second level and block linebackers, to pull out in front of sweeps. You see his footwork is very good. And when he gets his hands on a linebacker, that play is over. That young man is not getting to the ball carrier. So this is someone who I really like, who I think, he's got the footwork, the drive, the strength, the athleticism, big hands. He's someone, there he is again, getting to the second level and blocking linebackers downfield. He's someone who I think would be a very welcome addition, and that we should definitely try to pursue. Like I said, at the latest, the 5th round. I could even see us going for him in the 4th round. Again, assuming that we didn't sign Drew Dalman. If we sign Drew Dalman, that becomes less of a need. Another person I want to take a quick look at is defensive tackle Jordan Phillips out of Maryland. Now, Jordan Phillips, I think, would be an even later pick. Like, he's someone that I would think 5th round at the best, probably later than that. Like, we don't have a 6th round pick, but we have a couple of 7th round picks. So if we traded 2 7s to get up to the 6th, or if we made an earlier trade and wound up with a 6th, I could see him going in the 5th or 6th round. I mean, he's certainly draft worthy. I'm not saying he should be an undrafted free agent. And he's probably, should be higher than the 7th round. But I'd say probably a 5th round prospect. So what do we know about him? He's 6'2", 312. Again, short arms, 31.5-inch arms, 9 3/4-inch hands. They have him ranked at 5.84, average backup or special teamer. I just think I saw him at the Senior Bowl. He's not especially athletic. You see his athleticism score is actually only 62. There's nothing about him on paper that jumps out and says, get this guy. 31-inch vertical jump is actually not bad for his size. The 8.19 cone drill is actually pretty bad. The 4.65 shuttle, not so great. The 29 bench reps is good. That he's strong. And I guess that's kind of what I'm most impressed about him is his strength. And he seems to have a decent amount of moves, like as far as his ability to fend off blockers, to fend off double teams, swim move, rip move. I mean, he's not a unskilled player as far as tools, as far as being able to get to the quarterback, or more importantly, to get to the running back, because we need a run stuffer to put next to Dexter. So here's, again, highlights. Again, everybody's highlights are great, but here's a few highlights just to give you a sense of what I've seen in him and why I like him. So let's take a look at a couple of highlights for Mr. Phillips. There, you see the swim move. He just, again, these are highlights, but he does seem to have a little arsenal of moves. His ability to put a spin move, a rip move, a club move. He doesn't lack for moves, and that's before he gets coached up by Coach Dre for the Giants. So as you see, he gets to the quarterback from time to time. He certainly penetrates his gap and gets to the running back. Very strong, as you see there. He just kind of bull rushes people sometimes. Again, we're looking at his highlights, so I'm not saying he does this every play, but I am saying that he is very strong. The 29 bench reps does speak to that as well, and has a high motor. Like, this is somewhat, again, these are his highlights, but I did watch a couple of his games. I didn't just watch the highlights, and he seems to be someone who, if we could get 30 snaps a game out of him to give Dexter a little bit of a rest and then to be alongside Dexter from time to time, I think that would be a very quality add to our defensive front, which is in dire need of that. So that's what I'm thinking about these two young men. That Jarrett Wilson, if we don't sign Drew Dalman, I think that's a need at center, and he would fill that need quite well. Like I said, I could see him certainly by the 4th round, maybe even the 3rd round. And Jordan Phillips is someone who I think would be a very nice rotational piece at defensive line for us, maybe even the second starter, again, depending on free agency. If we've signed Milton Williams and BJ Hill, then I guess that's less important. If we've even signed one of them, less important. But if we haven't signed either one of them, if we haven't signed any interior defensive linemen, which would be a crime, then I think he's someone that I wouldn't be happy with him being the first interior defensive lineman that we drafted if we hadn't signed anyone. Like, I feel like we should have drafted someone else earlier than that. But certainly the second interior defensive lineman that we draft could be Jordan Phillips. I think he would be a welcome addition to the rotation. So that's what I think. Tell me what you think. Share, like, subscribe, drop a comment, all those good things. Again, Clay from Brooklyn, Football with the Fellas, all about Big Blue, and I'm out.
Big shout out to El Marquis Productions, the talent behind the music and production here at Football with the Fellas. It's all about Big Blue. Their beats bring energy and excitement to every episode. El Marquis' skills in mixing, mastering, and creating top quality sound make the podcast come alive each week. For your own projects, check out elmarquisproductions.com and take your sound to the next level.